Hola, peace and blessings, everyone. So, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for stopping by. Before we get started, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and also click on the notification button. So, anytime I post videos such as this one, you will be the first one to know. So, let's go ahead and get started. So, today, um, first of all, how's everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing fine. Uh, Christmas is right around the corner, and next thing you know, it'll be 2022. Can you fucking believe it? 2022? Jeez whiz. Um, Today, I'm just gonna share a couple of things with you. Just kind of casually talk about some things. I was really trying to debate. I'll be honest. I ain't feeling none of this shit. I'm really not. I'm not feeling none of this at all. I'm really doing my best to not have a pessimistic outlook on everything. Just looking at try not to look at the glass half empty and instead look at it as the glass half full. But the only thing I want full is my wine glass. I mean, can I get a clean champagne, clean, whatever. Anyway, um, don't you hate it when it seems like you're headed down the right track as far as the way that your life is going, whether that's, with your career, with your relationships, with like, it seems like everything is going good, but in the back of your mind, you like, I know that other shoe is gonna drop any moment, any moment. And sure enough, the shoe drops, and you have to, try to figure out, okay, like how can I navigate through this without losing my shit. And so I think that's what I'm essentially going through right now. The shoe is starting to drop, or maybe in my mind, the shoe is starting to drop, and now I'm trying to figure out how to get my shit together and navigate the best way I can without losing my fucking mind. So I know that there are some things going on with my health, with my job. I posted a previous video about how excited I was to like start working, how I got hired on permanently, and yeah, I'm starting to deal with a lot of things that us people of color have dealt with, and that is microaggression. I'm currently going through some situations where it is microaggression, and I'm really trying to do my best to navigate through those spaces without coming off as the angry black woman. I'm also doing the best I can to not be passive aggressive about it, but um, instead of shutting down and then just feeling some type of way, like having being angry or resentful, more so towards myself than others of how I'm handling it, but just making sure that I handle it in a healthy way. And I think the way that I'm going to approach this situation that I'm going through with a couple of people within my workspace is to deal with it head on and just do it in a professional manner and just have the evidence to back it up. Because if you are, and I'm pretty sure all of us has gone through this, is currently going through this, or will go through this, because let's face it, we're living in a society where having this color of skin is just looked down upon, and we're essentially treated like shit. So just trying to figure out how to deal with it the best way I know how, without being negative about it. And so I had thankfully today I had a therapy session where I was able to talk to my therapist about it. And she really, because I mean, when I came on, I had this face like, I ain't I ain't doing that shit. You know, like I had that attitude, but after she done got me from her to I would say her, and after even confiding in someone else who understands what I'm going through, I think, you know, by tomorrow I'll be able to come out ahead, and I'm just gonna come with the facts, and we gonna keep it that way. Also, I want to say this. I think another thing that I'm going through is like a transitional period in my life where I'm it's like at first I really had it in my mind on what the fuck I want to do as far as my career goes, because I know I don't want to work for the white man for the rest of my life. Like, who the fuck wants to do that for real? Like, I know that we get into a habit, and I'm not knocking anybody who you know, doesn't mind doing a 9 to 5, because I do understand people need some type of structure. They thrive on structure. They thrive on having a set schedule and whatnot. But I'm learning something about myself, that although I do like structure, I like structure that I can implement myself and that works best for me. And I'm noticing working for other people and helping them to achieve their dream and goal as far as making millions of dollars. That's not something that I really want to do. However, I do understand that in order for me to get from point A to point B, there are certain things that I need to do in order to get to that space. And so I know that I want to get into mental health and wellness, you know, being a mental health coach, going around being a speaker, sharing my I want to say sharing my story, but also just sharing my experience and just letting other people of color know, specifically within my community, that who grew up in a unsavory, you know, environment, who has dealt with pretty much all types of trauma and drama that you can think of, and being able to take that, and instead of letting it hinder me to the point where I can't move on or evolve or grow as a person, I was able to take that and really turn it around, do a 180, and and to be able to, you know, elevate myself. However, I know that that takes education. It takes getting certification in some ways, because there are skills that I feel like I need to learn. And coupled with the experience that I have, I know that I can be the shit. I'm already the shit. But I know that it can really take me to where I'm really trying to get to. And so I've been really thinking about going back to school, to the point where I applied, went through the whole admissions process, and I've hit a huge roadblock, mostly with finances, and unfortunately, with when I was previously in school, I was at my worst my mental health was not up to par. I was doing the very bare minimum. And I mean, that means getting out of the bed, not really even, you know, taking care of myself as far as like my self-care, my hygiene, or anything like that. And as a result, I went from being on a dean's list to failing. And so I eventually had to stop, because I completely checked out. And so now I'm paying the price. And you know, now I have to come up with all this, you know, money just to even get myself back on track. And so sorry if I'm going, you know, kind of going all over the place, but I know that I want to help people, and I know I want to help people within my community. And as I was even describing to the admissions counselor, like what I'm wanting to do and what I really have a passion for, and it really surprised the hell out of me. Um, I also feel like this market, as far as, you know, holistic healing and therapy, and even, you know, with doing the things that I like to do with essential oils, aromatherapy, and yoga and meditation and all that. Like the book, and as far as even being a coach, like this market is so fucking saturated with people because it's a fad. Like I've been doing this shit before it was even a fad. And I can even remember at a point where motherfuckers made fun of me because I like to, because I like to, sage or use cedar wood to bless the house, or to, get my space together using incense. Motherfuckers at work calling me Earth because I brought a diffuser to work. For one, it stank in that motherfucker, and for two, that energy was so bad. I just needed to, do whatever I needed to do for my mental health and for my space. But it, and I was even talking to a homegirl who's, pretty much like in the same realm as what I want to do. And it's not fun anymore. And anytime that something is not fun, where like where it's just taking, where it feels like work instead of feeling like, okay, like I'm enjoying this. I feel like I'm doing my thing. And now it's just like, this shit is so saturated, and it's such a turn off. One of the things that really bothers me about the age of social media, and is that everybody jumps on this whole bandwagon shit. And I don't want to be that person that looks like I'm just hopping on the bandwagon because everybody else is doing it. Even with podcasting, like I was doing podcasting before podcasting became popularized like it is today. And I could just, it's like them same people who talk so much shit about me doing it, they doing it themselves. And I understand part of it is me caring about and worrying about what other people think of me, which, I talk about it on the channel, I talk about it on the podcast. Like, don't give a fuck about what people think. Just do what you do. Like, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you feel good inside, as long as it ain't hurting nobody else, do that shit. And I still stand by that, but I also need to, I need to take heed to my own advice that I'm putting out there to everybody else, that I need to do that same fucking thing. I need to stop worrying about what other people think, because what that ends up doing, that ends up dictating your life. And I'm starting to see that, that's what I've been doing. And it's one thing when coming to a realization like, fuck, like, goddamn, I'm doing the very same thing that I'm telling other people not to do. And so now, I'm aware of this shit. It's like, all right, Liz, how do you stop not giving a fuck about what people think? One day at a time. That's all I can fucking say. Like, one day at a time. I've been starting off small. I've noticed, like, I've been catching myself. So anytime that I start to think like, well, what are other, like, Liz, nope, we're not doing that today. We're not doing that. Don't care about what other motherfuckers think. Don't. I'm telling you this, but I'm telling myself this as I'm looking at myself in this camera. Like, don't. Because what that's going to do is halt you. It's going to hinder you from evolving. It's going to hinder you from achieving your dream. It's going to hinder you from being who you are destined to be. And if you're destined to, everybody is destined for greatness in some form or fashion. So in this space, in this mental health realm, in this wanting to help other people, I gotta walk this walk. I walk the walk in other areas, but when it really comes to how like that I care about what other people think, it is really like it really is fucking with me, and it's really hindering me. And I'm seeing that, and I gotta nip it in the bud, because who cares what y'all think? And I also have to remember the reason why I started doing this in the first place. I honestly did it for myself, of course, and it ain't even I did it for myself to make money. It was more so I did it because I didn't have support. I didn't have a strong support system. So the reason I started podcasting, I started doing videos, I started doing the whole adulting sucks and the peace of mind, is because I wanted to create a space for people like me. I wish when I was going through my journey with bipolar depression and like attempting suicide and being in a hospital and really going through it, I wish I had somebody that looked like me to tell me that it's okay, you gonna recover. There are ways to recover. It's ways to move past this, and it doesn't have to always take medication to do that. Therapy is not just for white people. It's not for rich white people. It's for poor, I ain't gonna say poor, broke ass black people like myself. It's for everyday people. And there are people that are out there that actually care, because you gotta be out of your mind and you gotta care in order to be in a mental health field. You do. It don't pay much, but it's just, that's your calling. And I know this is my calling. My calling is to help. And I just wish I had somebody that was like me, that looked like me, all of me, my nerdy self, my nerdy black ass self. So, yeah, that's what I'm going through. And the fucking depression is, Lord Jesus, let me tell you about this depression. It is really fucking with me. Every day gets harder to get out of the bed. Seasonal affectiveness disorder is a thing. I am sad all the time. But I don't let it get me down to the point where it hinders me yet. Because there's always shit that happens. I really do try to be realistic. So if you're going through it, if you are struggling trying to figure out what your passion is, or if you just like me and you trying to appease everybody, stop. Let's stop. Let's work on it together and stop. I'm still trying to figure out the podcast situation with my own personal podcast, because as of tomorrow, I'm meeting with my homegirl, and we're going to do one together, because sometimes it is just nice to work work with somebody else to try to achieve a goal. So I'm finding that I am struggling to really do my own personal podcast. So speaking to my homegirl, and more to come, but speaking to her, we are both in the same boat, and this will be an opportunity for us to do what we love, but we can bounce off of one another and also get our message across, and just talk shit, talk about adulting shit, talk about how it is to be, I don't even want to call myself a traditional black woman, because I'm not a traditional black woman. Like, my thoughts and views on relationships, on interactions with other people, even the things that I used to deem as it, like I would never. It's like, Why not? So from, of course, marijuana, like I can remember I was dare to be different, but shit, I'm the first one to spark up a joint because it helps with my mental health. um Another thing, and I'm just gonna throw that out there, when it comes to relationships, romantic relationships, Google ethical non-monogamy and come holler at your girl, because it's 7 billion people in this fucking world, and I think it's unfair of us to think that we are supposed to be with one person, because I just don't think that. But at the same time, I don't believe in cheating on anybody. um I just think that part of the reason why relationships and marriages don't work, besides finances, because that's typically number one, but cheating. We're not open and honest with one another. And with sexuality being so fluid, as a queer woman who is trying to navigate through these heteronormative uh, spaces and relationships and what traditional looks like, I don't fit in this box. And I am learning to what that looks like for me, and how to do it in a way that is healthy, that is safe, and that works for me. Because what works for you, the traditional, the conservative, the part, it may not work for people like me. And I am learning to accept that, and also not give a fuck what the fuck y'all think. So with that being said, I will give y'all a thing about drink your water so your black don't crack, but drink some wine so your mind don't crack, okay? And still wear your sunscreen to keep your melanin popping, such as mine. And I love y'all. I will see y'all again soon, and peace.